Hello, everybody. Hello. Sorry for being late. There were some technical issues. I hope it got all resolved right now. So we are good to go. We're good to start. And so my name is Medina, and today I will be talking about healthy relationships. Please let me know if you have any questions during my speech. Before I start, I want to say this. Sometimes I would ask to hold your questions till the end because I would be answering them throughout my speech. But other than that, let's just enjoy. Let's talk about healthy relationships. In fact, I can discuss them for ages and ages, but I was given at most 1 hour. So I hope um, I will do my best to fit in this time frame. All right. So I have presentation about that. So let me share it with you. I hope you can see it. Yes, I think so. All right. Okay, so healthy relationships. Today we are going to discuss what do they actually look like and how and do they even exist? And let's go. So first, I'll shortly tell you my story. Um, as a kid, I was an unpaid couples therapist to my parents, meaning that I was very often I was regulating whatever conflicts they were having, and it was very often up to me to make the best outcome of whatever disagreement they had. It's an honorable job, but it was a difficult job, and it obviously sometimes was very difficult and not age appropriate. So in a way, in some ways it was traumatic, but in many ways I turned this trauma into resource. I turned this trauma into my strong side. Now I'm working as a couples therapist, and I'll tell you more about it, but it came from a place where I didn't want to, but I had to. But now I'm kind of doing it because I like it. It became my strength. So in my high school, I studied in the USA, and I took my first psychology class in 2001, which was like almost 25 years ago. I did my bachelor's degree in psychology. I did my master's in gender studies because I believed, I've noticed that there's quite a lot of misrepresentations of both genders when it comes to mental health. And if we have time, we're going to discuss that as well. And then after that, I did different certification programs, read books, I've written books. I did individual and group therapy. And some of the courses that I've taken were Introduction to Systemic Family Therapy in Oxford University, and I've done certificate program for couples therapy in Gesell Center in London. So now I am a paid couples therapist working online and also in person, mostly in Birmingham. I'm a sex therapist. I'm a Udemy instructor. I've written several books about emotional maturity and mindfulness. I'm also a BBC invited guest speaker and recently a yoga instructor. And in the future, I plan to combine yoga with couples therapy, hopefully, because I believe there is so much you can do as in talking therapy and so much more through embodiment, through movement together. So today we're going to be discussing the definitions, what it is, what does it mean healthy, and what is relationships anyways. And we will talk about why modern relationships feel so difficult and sometimes even impossible. We will discuss what healthy relationships actually look like. A little spoiler, very different from what we think. And we will talk about love love versus desire. They sometimes go along, very often they don't. I will share with you the practical tools that couples can use today to improve their relationships, and we will have a closing reflection. So let's first discuss what is healthy, anyways. Healthy, according when you think, sorry, before we start, when you think of healthy, what comes to your mind? A healthy person in general, like somebody is healthy. Does that mean that they don't have? Um, sorry, I'm just gonna get back to this video just to get back to you. Yeah, when you say healthy, does what association does it bring to you? Is it someone who never gets ill? Is it someone who has a strong resilience? Is it someone who who looks healthy? What was healthy anyways? It's very tricky, and especially when it comes to relationships. And there's a reason why I chose healthy and not happy relationships. So, according to um, according to Merriam-Webster dictionary, healthy means beneficial to one's physical, mental, or emotional state, that is, conductive to or associated with good health or reduced risk of disease. For example, like healthy foods and healthy lifestyle. And you know very well, if you watched, if you try to live a healthier, I'm not saying healthy, but healthier life, you know very far too well that healthy is not necessarily happy. Something which is healthy for us, like think of a healthy food. It's like the most awful food you can ever have. Awful in terms of like, it's not, doesn't necessarily make us happy in the short run, but in the long run, we benefit from it. Sometimes in the long run, sometimes in the short run. Think of healthy habits like going to gym. Do you always enjoy it on the Monday morning? You don't, but this is healthy. I want you to take this perspective into understanding what healthy relationships are. And anyways, what is relationships, right? Uh, there are many, many definitions, but I found the most relatable one in Cambridge Dictionary, which says it is the way in which two or more people feel and behave towards one another. And I think when it comes to relationships, when it comes to love, the behave part is very often underestimated. I'll get back to sharing the screen and then I'll get back to you as well. All right. So here we are. What feels hardest in modern relationships is the communication, because of AI, because of all the technology, because of the massive expectations we have from each other. And I'm going to talk about it in the next few minutes. It's challenging to feel emotionally safe, secure. We have unprecedented expectations from each other. It's also hard nowadays to keep attraction alive towards each other with so many choices outside. Um, it's hard to balance closeness and independence, and both are absolutely important for the relationship to be healthy and to thrive. And there are no assigned roles uh, like there used to be, where women were supposed to do their thing and men were supposed to be the kind of like breadwinners and stuff like that. Luckily, we don't have this roles. I mean, these roles are not so rigid, at least in the West, but it means that we have to negotiate much more. And we don't necessarily have the negotiation skills required for that. And that's why what makes it hard. So this webinar is not about perfection or soulmate fantasy or never fighting, but it is about emotional maturity, erotic intelligence, which I will touch upon briefly because it's important, but it's a vast topic. But the ability to repair. We will talk about realistic expectations and sustainable intimacy. So, one why relationships are so hard, why out of a sudden we're all struggling, and we all, I mean, including couples therapists and therapists in general, relationships are hard by nature, but also there is a time context in which we live. We don't have a good reference point. We know very well what we don't want. We've watched our parents fight, or our aunties or our grandparents. We know that we don't want this for ourselves. So we think just because we love, or just because we are more educated, or whatever that is, that we should have easier relationships. I'll tell you something, it's not necessarily the case. Very often it makes it much harder, because we want to be now happy in the relationships. One of the very good books that I absolutely recommend was about the historical context, right, about marriages, but also the practical tools towards improving your marriage, or any relationship for that matter, is The All or Nothing Marriage by Ellie Finkel. And I will discuss a little bit what was written there. Let me get back to you. Mhm. So here I am. Let's discuss, first of all, historically, marriage, or any close relationship that was resembling a marriage, for thousands, for tenth of thousands at least, from what we know, it was about survival. It was about stability. It made sense economically. It was about maintaining a certain family structure, social status, and maybe, just maybe, love, right? Love was introduced at most around 150 years ago, the time of the Industrial Revolution, and therefore urbanization, when people shifted from traditional lifestyles towards urban ones, and the element of choice appeared. So suddenly, just for the past at most 150 years, people started thinking of loving somebody that they married. It was not the case historically. If you happen to love, it was like winning a lottery. If you don't, that was all right, because the rest of all the needs that you had were provided by the village. Now, what happens today is that we expect now one person to do everything what the village was doing, and very often they're saying that there needs to be a village to raise a child, not only a child, a marriage as well. A proper, thriving marriage should be sustained by a community, by a village of people. But that doesn't happen very often, especially in the Western societies. So, what we have is that we expect one person to provide us emotional safety and obviously happiness. We want passion. We want healing in this marriage relationship, whatever that is. We want best friendship, yeah, from the same person. Yeah, keep on listening to the list. We want very perfect, harmonious co parenting if we choose to have children or pets. We want deep understanding, not a superficial one. We want constant attraction. We want to be attractive, and we want to be attracted to them. We want personal growth in this marriage or in this relationship. We want to feel like this is healthy, this is good for us, that we become a better person than we are when we're on our own. So above all, it became, on the top of all that, it became about self-realization. So your marriage, your relationships should be a representation of who you are. And I'm not even mentioning, the global movements like immigration, massive immigration around the world, the loss of sense of community, and the wars happening, which are all affecting us. I'm talking about increased loneliness and absolutely unthinkable increased expectations from one person. No wonder so many marriages are collapsing. So we no longer want just a spouse or a boyfriend or a girlfriend or potential spouse. We want them to be a soulmate, our therapist, a best friend, co-founder of a very successful business, of course. We want them to be a proper erotic partner that would really get us engaged sexually. We want them to be our emotional healer, to be there for us when we need them. And it would also help if they would be our life coach, who would motivate us to be the best versions of ourselves. But let's imagine that it's realistic. Let's imagine that somebody, some kind of an amazing person, which doesn't exist. Um, yeah, please write your questions. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I just have seen this message over here. Dun, dun. So let's imagine that one person has been trained, has done something, and they are able to provide. Now look at the needs, a very, very contradicting, mutually exclusive needs that we want from them. You'll understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so even if it was realistic that one person can provide us security, right, connection, predictability, our core needs, we also want them to provide us with freedom, autonomy, and novelty. Now, please look again. Security means that you want to feel safe with them, that you want to feel cozy and warm and understood, right? And freedom is very opposite, but absolutely necessary feeling, need as well, where we want to be able to explore the world, where we want to uh, not feel suffocated by the fact that we're married or we're in a relationship. So we want, then again, bear with me, we want to feel connected, right? This is what the whole relationship is about, to feel connected to somebody. But we also want to maintain our autonomy. And I'm telling you, the couples who are very often very connected on a deep level, they lose their autonomy. And then again, something is missing in their relationship. And very often it is the sparkle that they describe. So we want our partners to be predictable. We want to know that if they, promise something, they deliver it. If they usually come out of work at 6, then they arrive home by 6:30, and so on and so forth. But we also want them to provide us novelty, adventure, and be unpredictable and fun. This one is a big one. You can't imagine how many couples have come to my office moaning about the lack of adventure, complaining over and over that they appreciate all the things that their partner is doing and they want something exciting happening, right? But at the same time, they want it to be predictable adventure. It's very, so all I'm trying to say is that these needs are almost self exclusive. So somebody who is very good at providing you with security, connection, predictability would probably be bad with giving you freedom, autonomy, and novelty, and vice versa. People who are good with making you surprises, who are letting you go explore the world, who give you freedom and autonomy, they're bad with being warm and connected towards you. This is not their fault. This is a personality type, and this is the reality that it's really hard, extremely hard to provide these two. I have just a few examples of how hard it can get to navigate around these needs. And one of the movies that I recommend for just something light is obviously La La Land. It's a good one, especially if you're into musicals. Nobody Wants This, a Netflix series. It has 2 seasons, I believe. Also, how the real relationship, real negotiation is happening, how hard, frustrating, isolating, and just disappointing it can get. Normal People, it's more for younger generations, but I even, I could still relate it in the book and in the series. Togetherness, this is a good series about adultery and how you can negotiate about it and make sense of what's happening. Spoiler, it's not easy at all. The Brokeback Mountain, this is LGBTQ plus friendly movie, not friendly, but it's about the couple who also try to navigate their social life and their personal life. and in a very sad way. But it's something to be aware that it's happening, and it's hard. One of my personal favorites, and it's just personal, is Revolutionary Road, with Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio. A brilliant work of two people who deeply love each other, deeply care about each other, and even that is not enough for them to have a fulfilling relationship. It's tragic, it's poignant, it's extremely sad and extremely relatable about many couples. So let me stop sharing here. I will get back to you. Love is a skill, as we say. Love is a feeling and a skill. And I don't know if you would agree to that. I would love to hear your opinion here in the comments, or later on our website. You can't imagine how many couples, how many individuals I counseled saying they mm, that they I'll answer this question, that because they but I love you, and but I love you means that things should get solved out by themselves. I love you should be like a magic wand that you apply and the problems disappear, and all the organizational issues are resolved, kind of thing. So I wanted to keep it in mind that love is a feeling, but it's also a skill. Now there's a question: how should arguments and conflicts be managed in a healthy relationship, which you mentioned? Very good question. I will get back to that. Hi, hello, whoever is joining us. Um, the I will talk about the conflict resolution because it's such a big part of all the relationships. And I'll give you the tools for you to improve the conflict resolution strategies. We love each other, but how can we handle conflicts? Absolutely, absolutely. This is what's happening over and over. It takes love, absolutely, as a foundation, and it also takes certain negotiation skills, conflict resolution skills, to keep this love alive. Otherwise it turns into nightmare for both of them, or it turns into couples therapy with me. Hello, whoever is joining us. So I'm going to continue sharing the screen, and I'll get back to you. So love is a skill. Love is not just a feeling, it's a psychological skill that we develop. I would say social, psychological, emotional skill, right? And a healthy, successful relationships require. Now that's coming back to the question about conflict resolution. There has to be self-awareness of what is happening with me at the moment while I'm fighting with this idiot who happens to be my boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whoever. Being very, very clear on your own inner reality and your own inner triggers and traumas. It requires emotional literacy, right? For you to know, to be able to understand what is happening for you emotionally as well. Without it, it just turns into facts battle, into trial, as I like to say. It requires, say, communication skills. Some of us are naturally good communicators. Most of us aren't. We have to learn to listen and so on. I'll talk about it later. Non-defensiveness is a big one. If you can develop non-defensiveness, you guarantee 60% of healthy relationships. Non-defensiveness means your ability to listen your partner's view without trying to explain your behavior away. It's a big one. It requires a lot of emotional maturity, and ultimately, if you come from a point of even gratefulness that this person is actually teaching you to become a better person, that will be easier. But I'm not saying it's easy. Generosity of interpretation, that means basically that when your partner does something absolutely stupid, and all of us do, all of us, in all relationships, we do absolutely stupid things. Then most of, if you don't have generosity of interpretation, you would be like, he did it because he's an because he's an idiot, obviously, or because he hates me, yeah, or he wants to hurt me, or what, or she is a witch, right? Generosity interpretation means that, I wonder why they did this. Maybe this has happened. Maybe that have happened. Maybe they meant this. And then you ask. And if you're not sure, you ask. Very few people do that. We tend to find a shortcut, give a short explanation, put this person in a box, and nobody likes to be in this box, believe me. And obviously, ability to repair is a big skill. Ability to listen, to apologize, not apologize in order for them to apologize back, but apologize because you really understood that you screwed up, owning your own contribution. One of the best books, again, a very practical one about this, is The School of Life. The School of Life is like several authors writing this together. The Secrets of Successful Relationships. They call it successful. I call it healthy. Nobody's saying happy, but yeah. Because, like I said, happy can be very tricky in the long run. Um, a very practical. There's an audio version, there's also a printed version, a short one. It has exercises, it has a good data and good things to do together with your partner and by yourself, and it's very funny as well. It has fine British humor. All right, so love and desire. This is the next topic that I'm absolutely passionate about as a sex therapist, in general, about the desire. And one of the best uh, book written for general public that you can read and take your own insights from is Mating in Captivity by Esther Perel. I'll get back to the screen here so that, yeah, I can see your questions. If love is a skill, which skill do you think most couples should learn first and why? Thank you for this question. It's a really good one. I think I just said that perhaps if there was more of self-reflection and owning to what is happening, owning to the contribution without any malicious intention. If one person is able to like sit and say, oh, okay, yeah, I've done that, I'm sorry. Not like I've done this because you made me do this, not that I've done this because I'm traumatized, not I've done this because I had to, but really sitting there and hold two realities together. And we will talk about it towards the end. Yeah, I will answer some of the questions if if they're short, and some of them I will answer throughout my presentation. But thank you for asking. That's a really good one. So desire. Why did I write love and desire separately? Because before the sex therapy course that I've taken, I always thought that if you have established, if you developed love as a skill, your communication skills, if you become friendly, caring about each other, then this is the way for you to this sure will help you to always have desire, the desire, not just the sexual one, but in general. It will help your attraction. It will help you to want your partner in a broader context. It turns out, no, very often it works right the opposite. So you need certain amount of love for their desire. But then when there's too much love, and by love I mean rather closeness, rather like caring for each other deeply, it very often kills the desire. And hence we have lots of, to this day, we have lots of adultery happening. And it's interesting. I specialize in infidelity. I love this area because it's so much more broad than we think it is. And I'm not defending it or anything, but very often the couples who come to me after the infidelity, they never, after they conduct, like after they cheat, they barely do it because they hate their partners. Very often they love their partners and they cheat. And that was very striking for me, to see how come you know you've done so much for each other, you cared so much, and how come you betray each other so badly like that. And very often it's because desire needs a different fuel than love. Is it normal? So the next question, is it normal for desire to fade over time, and how do we keep it alive? Absolutely. This is one of the biggest misconception about long-term relationships, that you will that the desire will continue by itself without your effort. Unfortunately, it doesn't. I wish it was. Maybe it was in the past. Very big question mark. People were not marrying for keeping the desire. People were marrying to bring up kids. People were marrying and had extra. If they wanted desire, they very often had extramarital affairs or some form of extramarital affairs. This is a very new thing. You understand? To be attracted to the same person for the next 50 years or whatever years you want to be married to. We live longer. We want to be attracted, but we don't know how. There is science behind it, and there is biology behind it, but it doesn't mean that we are doomed. So to keep it alive, I'll talk about it a little bit later, but just for you to recognize, I think it puts a lot of pressure and a lot of sadness at the same time on couple to understand that the desire has went down, and at the same time while their love levels have increased. The way to keep one, okay, I'll talk about it because like I said, it's one of my favorite topics, the sexual well-being, erotic well-being. So I'll try to shorten it in my answers. um, so desire requires separateness, freedom, and spontaneity. All of these things are enemies of love. We don't want to be separate when we're in love with somebody, right? We don't want us to be free and them to be free. We want to be super connected and super together, doing things together. And it also requires the skill of spontaneity. Something like, tonight let's go to the mountains. Well, I don't know if you live close to mountains, or um, it requires taking risks. But you see, over time, we don't want to. First of all, most of us are tired. Let's start with that. But even if somehow we're not super exhausted by our lifestyles and so on, it just requires a certain personality type to be spontaneous, to be like, let's use this table for something else. We used it for dinner. At night, we're going to use it for something else, for a play. This element of playfulness is much more important than the sexual act itself. And this is like super, super, super important. So, one of the ways to keep the attraction alive is to broaden the definition of sex and sexual attraction, because very often people can have 7, 10 intercourses in a day and feel nothing towards each other. And there are couples who have it once in a year and they feel deeply connected in this time. Once in a year, I don't know, but maybe once in a few months, and that would be really satisfying for them because there is playfulness happening, right? And for you to be playful with your partner, you have to view them from a different angle. You have to view them with the eyes of outsider. And if you want to get more tips on that, there are lots of really good exercises in this book as well, Maintaining Captivity. So yeah, like I said, we lose attraction not because we are too distant, but because we become emotionally overfused. We become too close to each other. There is no erotic tension anymore. For erotic tension to happen, for sexual attraction to happen, there has to be an obstacle. So basically, the formula is love plus obstacle equals desire. If you take away the obstacle, if you live together, if you do everything together, if you're aligned as the way you are, you become really good friends, but then the desire is not happening, or it's harder to emerge. All right, that's a big one. Yeah, and let's get to the next one. So now we're going to be discussing useful tools, and I will share the screen with you so that you can see it for yourself. Please feel free. I'll go in and out. I'll see if you have any questions about that. All right. So, tool number one, very, very important one, give the I messages with the feeling, right? I'll give you an example and I'll explain what I mean. You can say, I feel triggered by your question. Let's say your partner is asking a really, really a question that you have answered so many times ago or you're sensitive about. Most of us, our first reaction would be snapping at our partner and saying that why you're asking this or why you always you don't care. That's the first reaction. You don't care. You don't listen to me. People don't. Yes, that's true. Very often we don't, especially with all this information overload. That's when generosity of interpretation helps really. But so instead of focusing on them doing the wrong thing, which they obviously do, I'm not saying, it's a good thing that they ask you the same question for how many times. I'm just saying, if you take a breath and ask, what is happening to me when they ask this question? What is happening to me when they say, I'm tired of you? What is happening? This way, you have much more possibility to have a dialogue when you talk about yourself first and invite your partner to talk about their feelings. Why would they say this? We would ask, when you say this, I feel disregarded. I feel very sad and upset. It's not just making it about yourself, obviously, but it is a good grounding point, because once you start pointing fingers at your partner, it will just turn into, I don't know, how would I call it, into an escalated battle between you two. I'm not saying it's easy, but this is number one tool that you can start using, experimenting for yourself, right? For you to take your own share, and maybe your partner will join you. Very often they won't. It will take time for them to catch up, but it doesn't mean that you should give up altogether. Tool number two is a relationship check-in. So it can be weekly. If weekly is too much, which can be too much in the beginning, then you do it once in a month, like agree on certain day. Definitely not Monday morning, probably. Let's say first, second, third. It's an important check-in. We know from research that all of the couples have something brewing inside them against each other. We always do, no matter how deeply we love our partner. We always have something that absolutely makes us hate them. And what is recommended and has been backed up by research is that you bring it out before you have a major conflict. I know this sounds silly. I know for many of us it sounds like making up a problem in a place where it doesn't belong. However, we know that it also helps us to steam off before. It's also like it's like a prevention mechanism for both of you. So we can ask questions like, when did we feel connected? Where did we miss each other emotionally? What stress are we carrying? What do we need to do more of? There are different applications, pretty good ones. I was surprised when I tried. Pretty user friendly, quick, at most 10 minutes, requiring 10 minutes of your time. There are different cards that you can buy on Amazon that also like they could be funny as well, by the way. It doesn't have to be this serious meeting. And there are online questionnaires, and in worst case you can always use ChatGPT, like, give me a set of questions that I need to discuss with my partner weekly or monthly to make sure that we maintain good relationships. I'm checking if, yeah, there are no more questions right now. All right. So I continue here. Oh, I didn't realize I'm staying in the small window. Okay, it's good to know. Next one. There's a book based on this principle. It's called Scream Free Marriage by Hal Runkel, and I've been to his seminars as well. So his main approach I'll try to shorten it, but it's basically about calming yourself down. Don't tell your partner to calm down. You find a space. If you need to take a break, but make sure that you're calm while you're as calm as you can while you're discussing something. Grow up means take the responsibility for the situation. Get closer means take a first step, and that it all comes as a consequence, and it all sounds very easy. It sounds simple, but it's not easy. But that's something to be aware of, that you calm yourself down first. You take your responsibility, you make your steps, and then you and see where the dynamic takes you. Yeah, it's a big one, but I'll try to shorten it for you. So tool number 4 is start with, do I understand it right that you meant this and that? Or started with, from my point of view, never like, what I see, it's basically the skill of holding two realities at the same time. What I see so often is that people would, oh my goodness. Say, for example, yes, but but this is what happened to me. But I felt offended, and I'm like, forget, delete the but from your vocabulary. Try as much as you can keep the end right. So you feel upset, angry, and disappointed. Interesting, interesting. Acknowledge, and then you say, hmm, in my experience, it's not the but, it's like an interesting, because in my experience, this is how I felt, disregarded as well. There is we will talk about it. Yeah, there is some kind of curiosity. How come that the same event very often gets interpreted in completely different ways by two people who deeply love each other, and then they see it from very, very different angles, and both of these angles are true. This is probably one of the my favorite and hardest skill to develop in a couple, that somebody can, you can be upset and another person is also upset about your behavior. It's like, very often I say, no, 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 you don't get upset because I you know what I'm going through, like what I experienced in this situation, da, 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 da. And then it's amazing how people are, try to make the situations um either or. So it has to be mutually exclusive. It's either my version or your version. And what I'm trying to do at my work is to bring these two realities together, acknowledge it as well, as much as you can. So let's go to the next one. The tool number 5 is replace blame with curiosity. I kind of touched upon that. Instead of what's wrong with you, you ask like, like, a little in investigator, like Sherlock Holmes. What is happening here? Like, I've noticed there are some changes in your behavior. What does this reaction protect? So the more curious you are, the more pause you make, like to trying to understand your partner and yourself as well. I really think it's very connected. The more you develop the ability to understand yourself and have compassion for yourself, for your not very nice reactions, the more you are likely to be able um, you're going to be more open to the curiosity towards your partner. All right. To number 6, and then we'll have 7, and that will be it. So talking about this is the skill for keeping attraction alive. I highly recommend for every couple, especially long-term couple, to plan intimacy but not sex. And this is very different. They're like, then the couple are like, what? Should we now write in our calendar 7 p.m. sex or something? No, absolutely not. That will kill this predictability part, will kill all of your desire. It will kill even your love. Definitely not. But you do need to plan intimacy in whatever form that you can. Is it a date? Is watching a movie together? Playing basketball? I don't know. trying a new experience, baking together, going to a party that you've never been before, something like that. So that has to be scheduled. It's not going to be happy. It's not going to happen by itself. And moreover, it's not going to book itself. It has to be initiated. Um, you have to be more intentional about it. Otherwise, you can't really, the natural tendency is for it to go down. That's why I said earlier, like, broaden the definition of sex. You're there not for the sex, you're there for play. You're there for feeling alive at the end of the day. And if it happens at the end with some kind of sexual exchange, great. If not, it's perfectly fine, and that should be agreed upon before any of this type of planned intimacy or dates. Number 7, also a big one, is evaluate the outer circumstances. Oh my goodness. That's a big one. You can't imagine how many couples who are going through very, very rough time at work or with immigration or with their extended family, whatever, they come to sessions with me and they're like, why are we not happy with each other? And like, and I say, you are as happy as you can be in your outer circumstances. You're going through a lot right now, and you're humans. I know that in your dreams, in your fantasies, you're all the superheroes and everything comes easy and you disregard whatever is happening. It's not. Sometimes it really helps for a while to decrease your expectations, knowing the outer circumstance. I'm going to give you one example of when I read an article about sandwich carers. These are the people who are sandwiched between taking care of their small children and their aging relatives, right? So they're sandwiched in between. And I've read that these people are 3 times more likely to have higher levels of anxiety, depression, and physical health problems. And I'm like, bless them, poor them. And then 1 week later, I found myself in emergency room having severe health issues. And I'm like, all right, I'm a sandwich carer. Yeah, I'm looking after my parents who live back in my home country in Kyrgyzstan. I'm also taking care of 2 small children who are small in a different country. And who's taking care of me? Obviously, there is a level, of care that I can take from my friends, from my partner, and so on. But just recognizing how much I'm going through, it took me going to emergency room to realize that. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I should unload myself more and prioritize the self-care and decrease my expectations from marriage for a while. But these things are real. Very often we don't notice them, but it helps. Like, it's like an inventory. You every now and then to help yourself it will help you to check around of what's happening with you and the people around you as well. So the key takeaways from today that I suggest you to consider is that healthy relationships are not perfect, or definitely not ever happy relationships. They're relationships where repair is possible, honesty feels safe, individuality is respected. Big one, I told you, is separatedness, and it's a big topic. I can talk with you some other time on some other webinar. Conflict does not destroy connection. Disagreement does not destroy connection. Growth is allowed, and intimacy is intentional. Please remember that love is not just chemistry, but rather a skill, along with the chemistry, obviously. Emotional safety matters more than perfection. Desire needs both closeness and space. How much space? Everybody gets to decide for themselves. Conflict is absolutely normal. Repair is much more important to how many conflicts you have. And long-term intimacy requires conscious effort. All right. Let's stay connected. I'm on Instagram as Medina Relationships Therapist. I'm on LinkedIn as Medina Demirbas. And I have a small bonus, but I'm not sure if we have time. Yeah, we have 1 minute. I'll be short. I just started reading this brilliant book. It's called Attached. Oh my goodness. It's so I specialize in this field, but I've read a lot of articles, books, and but this one is really it's really explanatory in terms of dynamics. So you probably have heard about different attachment styles, right? The secure attachment style, anxious, and avoidant. It's buzzing on social media, but these are the founders, these are the people, who popularized these terms and who conducted longitudinal researches, who reviewed the different research and put some it in such a relatable, interesting, and eye-opening perspective. I highly recommend. I just started it and I'm already attached to it, so I recommend this to you. You can scan to save this presentation if you want to. I'll keep it, yeah, like that, just for you to be able to scan it. And if you have any questions, please ask them now. I believe we have around 5 minutes for that. Otherwise, we can finish here. And I'm just looking through the questions that anybody can have. So how should I go? After kids, how do we focus on our relationship? As known, the kids take up all of our time and energy. Very good question that I get asked often. It's tricky, right? Because at certain age and with certain kid types, right? Some kids are easygoing, yeah, like and some they require a lot of you, and your partner is the last thing that comes to your mind, especially for mothers, not necessarily, but especially for mothers. The first year, your partner is the last person you want to attend to or to take care of when you have small children. So this is normal. Understanding that is the first step. That it is a lot. Perhaps after first year, my question is, how do you organize your life in such a way that you don't have any energy left, any desire left? And very often, for women, we know this from research, their emotional needs, their need to be needed is satisfied by their children. That's strange, but it's very often the case. That's why they're like, whatever, I don't even care that much. But through communication, through seeing that there is something missing, let's try, let's schedule. It doesn't have to be grandiose, going to a five-star hotel in Maldives. That would be absolutely great, but having something for you to where you feel playful, right? And it really depends on time, on budget, on energy, some point where you can start and you both enjoy. It can be a new activity by just the two of you. And I know, as an immigrant, I know it's not very easy, when you don't have your relatives around. And then again, the best time, we know from research, the best time for dates is not evening. You're too tired by evening. Schedule something for morning. When you leave your child to the daycare, to the nursery, have a breakfast together, right? Have a lunch together when you're still full of energy. Have a lunch together um, with your partner and the colleagues. Socialize. Yeah, this is more important than the actual, like, having spending time together. um and also, like, again, there is age appropriate neediness and ability appropriate neediness of children. And my question would be, are you following up, or are you treating your, not you as as you, but in general, I'm asking myself as well, am I treating my children as a 1 year old when they're already 10? Do I promote their independence, or do I use this as an opportunity um, to distantiate myself from my partner? It's very tricky. It requires, like I said, a lot of self-awareness, the skill of self-awareness, a lot of honesty. So, Borges, thank you for this question. It was it's a brilliant one. And sometimes it's really, it's a matter of circumstances, really outer circumstances, financial circumstances. And then it's also a matter of you two sitting together and discussing, look, I really want to go. I don't have power right now. I need another 3 months or something. And then I want, something that would help you to take responsibility over it rather than explain it away by the outer circumstances. All right, I think we have to stop here. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in my couples or individual sessions. And until then, have a lovely rest of the week, and bye bye.